Yeah, good night. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. We're there with you next Wednesday. Black History Month, Reggae Month, busy. I tell you foreigner them this, you know. I don't know how you are going to Jamaica. Listen to me, man. You see Kingston from Monday to Monday. And if you have another day in the week, too, you can add it too. There's somewhere to go every night and day. May I tell you? Kingston is a buzzing, man. It's a buzzing. I can't believe it. Kingston come like one big holiday. No, serious. Kingston is like one big holiday every night. I don't know whether I celebrate why, but trust me, man. Things are going on for Kingston. Things are. That's why UNESCO. I mean, them call it. Oh gosh, man, not the reggae music, but the city itself. Them have a name where UNESCO give it, the city itself. But may I tell you, it'll go on. So we're there with you, Black History Month, you know, so we're there in our Black History Month thing. We don't left it out, we always try give the people them something to think about, and you go search. And we say the youth them are research. Every time we talk, we say the youth them research. So we give thanks for that. The Virgin again history, you know, so them kill the Virgin, yeah? Yeah, them kill the Virgin, you know. And I want to say out a tough gang that come from the night, too. Yes. Okay, so we're there with you. And as we say, we have last week we play I will play last week. I don't remember we played last week, you know, but we will give you some. We're not carry you in a slavery, you know. We are carry you before. Because we always tell you, say, slavery is not African history, you know. Slavery is where African history was broken. You understand? So we're not called slavery African history, but it's good to talk about slavery at times. But you know, when we're at school, the only thing we know about Africa is, and Africans is that they brought us here as slaves. They never bring you as no slave, you know. They bring we here and turn we enslaved. So we want you to know that. Plus we have an interview we have to go on for something we're going to happen Thursday at the University of the West Indies. We are celebrate Africa and reparations. And we want to play some vintage cutting edge tape. We'll give some snippets of some vintage cutting edge tape we will play over the years. You understand? Okay, so we're there with you. We continue the journey. Mr. Kura talking about vital, as you talk about that, you know, we want to heal up Yasso Safari for the poetry in motion presentation. May I tell you, yes, wonderful. We love it. It needs a bigger place on our door, believe you me. Yes, Cutting Edge, we're there with you. So, as me I tell you, say, Kingston full up of pure excitement, you know. All the year I go on at the Drake and down and everything. Every corner of Jamaica. I feel hear what I say. Kingston is where it's at. But I tell you, every corner of Jamaica, I have to tell you this. Kingston is where it's at, man. I mean, the amount of excitement when I see that. I say, you know, when you see like New Year's Eve night, especially like our downtown, you know, because we want to heal up Jaria and we want to heal up the Ministry of Culture, Babsy Grange, and Lego, hard work in Lego. Transform, and we want to heal up Julian Jingles anyway there, you know, because that was one of him vision for see the Beat Street. For those of you who don't know the Beat Street is Orange Street. And we can't say it start from North Street, go right down to North Parade, because they saw North Parade, Randy's, they saw, and beside Randy's, you did have the African Museum, Gregory Shop, and up more, you did have Tough Gang, Soul to Soul label with wheelers, cross the other side of the road at King Street corner, so you did have Derek Harriet, then coming up the road at North Street, at Orange Street, you have all sorts of man, you have Augustus Pablo, you have Lee Scratch, you have Prince Buster, you still have Lego down there with him studio. Yeah, you have other stores, you have cross the other side, you have Big Yard, Cash and Carry with Bonnie Wheeler, Dennis Brown, and I think Three of them again. Dennis Brown, Big Youth, I think Big Youth, Dennis Brown, yeah, Bonnie Wheeler. Yeah, so the other day, Sunday, it was wonderful to see the Beat Street from North Street go right down to Charles Street, that's all. With pure tent, with pure upscale craft, art and craft and food, with table in other, that's how we know it. Like when you go to Europe and them places there, you know. When you go to South Africa, you see them have like street side cafe where even in New York, if you go to Soho, for those of you who know down in Soho, that's all. You know, you go to Europe, all over Europe, every city in Europe you go, you see a street side cafe. But then now them have some road where them block off, where them don't make car and traffic go down on them road there. Them just have tent there so where people are sell all different kind of things. And that, it remind me of it when Sunday when I go down Orange Street there. It remind me of that kind of ambience where food and craft and all different kind of people, you know, it was nice. And then in the evening, the big concert, the Dennis Brown tribute. It was wonderful. Wonderful, man. Wonderful. Wonderful, may I tell you. I think Lego them, even though them have this thing of carrying, like them have trips, where them tourist trips down there, but that street crafting should be a mainstay. I don't know them would do it still, but that street crafting is something where we need a whole heap more in a Jamaica, in a different location, different places. You just block off certain street for a Sunday or a Saturday evening. You block off certain street and you just have tents there. You rent the tent them and you have really nice Jamaican authentic art and craft, you know, fried dumpling and hockey and all the different things them where Jamaica have to offer. And it just mellow, it just nice. Because, you know, sometimes you have bigger places like Ruby's and Gloria's and all them places, but when you have it in the street, man, it have an ambience and you have the big music a thump down the street. May I tell you, it's sweet. So why you love all the people that are responsible for putting on that together because, yes, it have a vibes. It really have a vibes. Me love it. And I feel that the Ministry of Culture, you know, Babsy, she do a wonderful work because she understand the music. She did the music for years. And she need to continue it. I hope Lego, I hope Julian and Jaria with Igbo and all these ones who are responsible. There's many more there, but I them one them I really can't remember, you know. But yes, nice. And as we speak, there's an award taking place right now in the sports center. So now I hear thousands of people up there pack up the plates. Okay, we are continuing the journey as of now. Because I will tell you, says, even though we are talking about the music, we still incorporate Black instruments. And even though we talk about Black instruments, we still incorporate the music because the music is also Black history. The music, Jamaican music is Black history. Here we go now.
Welcome to Jamaican Roots and Culture. I'm your host, Pat Clark. The drums have kept pace with Jamaican history ever since the first Africans were enslaved on the island. It is therefore not surprising that Jamaican drums have predominantly African origins. During slavery, drumming was often banned because the white colonizers were offended by the sounds of the drum and feared its power. The drum was used by the enslaved Africans to communicate in ways the whites could not understand, and so could be used to incite unrest and cause revolt. But no amount of prohibition could permanently silence the sounds of the Jamaican drum. Drumming played a vital role in the recreation of the enslaved Africans. It featured prominently in their worship and in their celebrations. When necessary, drums were dismantled after use to avoid detection by the authorities. Popular music in Jamaica today often uses a traditional Jamaican drum alongside American-style drum kits and computerized drum machines. It is in the area of folk music and or traditional folk forms that African-derived drums and drumming have retained their supremacy. The drums also feature prominently in Jamaica's indigenous music, the reggae music. Jamaicans have drawn on the use of all drum types which originated in different parts of Africa. Some of these types have been modified depending on the raw material available for their construction in Jamaica. Some basic African drums from which we've derived our own drums in Jamaica are the bass, the fonde, and the kete drums. These three drums originated in Buru music, a recreational dance and drumming style derived from Africa. Buru has had a great influence on Rastafarian Nyabingi drumming, in which the three drums are collectively known as the harp. The bass drum, also called the thunder, is a double-headed drum played with a padded stick. It underpins the music with a steady, regular stroke on the first and third beat. The bass player will occasionally syncopate the stroke. The fonde is a cylindrical, single-headed drum played with the hands. It carries the heartbeat rhythm, which is the essence of the Nyabingi music. Because of the importance of keeping the heartbeat rhythm going, the fonde player does not improvise much. The kete, or repeater drum, is the smallest of the three and the highest in pitch. It too is a single-sided cylindrical drum played with the hands. The kete player plays on the second and fourth beat and does a lot of improvisation. The gombe drum is a single-sided square Jamaican drum on legs, used mainly by the Maroons. It is built with a smaller drum inside called the inner baby. The gombe is played with the hands. The Maroons also use bass and repeater drums. Their repeater is round and is played with sticks. In Jamaica, we also use kumina drums. These include the bandu and playing cast drums. Kumina is considered to be the most African of all the Jamaican folk forms. It's a dance ritual that has both sacred and secular elements. On its sacred side, it focuses on communication with ancestral spirits, with spirit possession being a manifestation of this communication. The Kumina tradition is strongest in the parish of St. Thomas, where it was originally practiced by African indentured laborers who came to Jamaica after the abolition of slavery. Before kumina drums are made, libation of rum is poured to appease the spirits of the wood and the goat skin. Newly made drums are consecrated by rubbing rum and sometimes sugar and water into the drum skin. Drummers sit astride the drums and use their heels as well as fingers and hands to change the pitch and tone of the drums. A second player sits on the back of the drum and plays a different rhythm on the side of the drum with sticks known as katatik. The bandu is considered to be a male drum. It is about 20 inches long and about 14 inches in diameter. It is a single-sided drum played with the hands. The playing cass is considered female and is higher in pitch. It resembles the bandu, but it is a bit smaller. The player executes more complex rhythms than those of the bandu. The rhythms of the playing cass are used to summon the spirits generally and also to communicate with specific spirits. Different rhythms will call different spirits. The tambo is another important drum used in Jamaica. In former times, the tambo drum functioned similarly to the kumina drums. It was used to communicate with ancestors long gone. The drum gave its name to a dance music in the parish of Trelawney, where indentured Africans also settled. Kumina and tambo both seem to share Congo origins, but tambo is now done mostly for entertainment. The main player sits astride the drum, uses the heel to vary pitch while playing with the hands, while another player beats kata sticks on the side of the drum. The Jamaican drum has come a long way in terms of being accepted by society. Traditional drums are now widely used to accompany singing in Roman Catholic and Anglican services. That would have been absolutely a no-no in colonial times. The rhythm of Jamaican traditional drum is mesmerizing. They can take you somewhere that feels slightly outside of yourself. A great feeling. The Jamaican drums can take you on a drug-free musical high. And now to end the Jamaican roots and culture, we share a popular Jamaican quotation. A people without the knowledge of their past is like a tree without roots. The words of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. For Jamaican Roots and Culture, I'm Pat Clark.
Yeah, that was Pat Clark giving us a listening drums and all them used to ban. You know, them used to ban cane row. Because the women, them in slavery times, we talk about science and people, science are not just metal and steel, you know, and computer, you know, but one of the reasons why them usually ban the cane row or corn row, them used to call it, is because the old slave women, them used to send message in them ear. Depending on how them corn row them ear and going at the field, the men them in the field could have know what had take place in the house, so when them to make certain move, when them to start burn down the plantation and all them something. Just by looking upon them corn in them ear. Just like the drum. When them beat the drum, it send a message. You know, the first time I see African do that, I was marveled and taken aback. Them call it the talking drum. You beat the drum, it's like a telephone. So we know these things exist. I don't know how much people know that exist, but it's not no spirit thing working. It's a cultural expression where the corn row. It's like certain places in South America and Central America, them weave cloth and them send message in the cloth. Them send message in the cloth depending on the weave. In Nigeria, a woman status is how she tie her hair. You know, you can't tell if she poor, if she married, if she's of high standing, if she's a noble, just by how she wrap her head. So there's a certain science, we call it. Anyway, we have a lady now, a very noble lady on the phone now, Center for Reparation Research, University of the West Indies. Them having an Africa Appreciation Day and Reparation Reasoning. Free admission. Good night, Mama. Good night.
Hi, Muta. Hi to all your listeners. Thanks for having me.
Yes. I was talking about the science of the Africans sending
Yes, I was listening with great interest.
Yes. And I know you love to wrap your head.
And I hope I know what it means.
You have to ask the Nigerian woman. When them don't them wrap them in a certain way, you know.
Yes, and people from Nigeria are also saying if you don't know the interpretation and the science behind it,
yeah, that's science.
You got the wrong signal with your head tie.
Of course. You might married and you wrap your head like you're single.
Exactly. You know.
Or when you see the man come on, you know, you wonder what kind of man this.
Exactly. You know. And I have always said to people that need to know when not only about just putting on what they call African clothes. Yes. It's about trying to understand the meaning, you know.
Yeah. But you know, a whole heap of indigenous people still like that, you know. We don't talk about all them make mats, weave mat and weave cloth and send messages in the cloth where Europeans couldn't understand how the message moved from one place to the next.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's just through scientifically them do it through them culture, the expression, you know. Yes. All right, so
messages were sent and received.
Yes. All right, so we have an African Appreciation Day. Who come up with this idea?
Yes.
Who come up with this idea?
It's the last day of African History Month.
Yes.
And we thought we should do this as a reparation research center. We actually have just introduced the monthly reparation reasoning, right? In the regional headquarters, right across on the Mona campus main gate. Because I think that sometimes we assume people know and they don't know.
Yes.
And we'll be working with people and sometimes wondering, why aren't they coming to our events? Why aren't they supporting us?
Yeah.
The fact is that they need information.
Yeah, they definitely need information.
Right. So we are introducing this because, you know, this center is the Center for Reparation Research, but also you can research without disseminating.
Yes.
And we embrace advocacy. So this tomorrow, we are going to start at 10 and around 4 or, 4. I'm sure we'll go a little later. But we're asking people to come and support us because they'll hear great music. I'm sorry you won't be there.
Yeah, I was hoping that I would be when I hear Thursday. I say, no, like tonight, I'm supposed to go to the what them call it, the thing up at the sports center tonight. In celebration of Reggae Month.
The Reggae Girls.
No, not the Reggae Girls. It's a award ceremony.
It's an award ceremony. I thought it was for the Reggae Girls.
No, it's for the music industry.
There's another one.
No, tonight I talk about though. And
tonight is the Reggae Gold Award?
Yes, Golden Globe Award, yes.
Oh, I thought it was
yeah, that's tonight. I was supposed to be there, but the program, and then tomorrow now is the next thing. All right, but tell me something now.
I'm busy trying to prepare for tomorrow, so I couldn't go tonight.
Yeah. What is it that you're offering at this place? At this? First of all, I must tell the people that it's at the Westland Regional Headquarters.
Of the regional headquarters. A lot of people are asking where are the regional headquarters, but I tell them, as you come under the aqueduct, right, on the Mona Road, instead of going left to go on the Mona campus, you go right.
Go right, yes.
It's a big building.
The new building in front of the gate.
But people still call it new.
Yeah, we still call it new building in front of the gate.
Yes, so they'll see the tents, and they'll hear the music. So come right in because we're going to have the National Council on Reparation will be there. They'll have a tent, and that's where most of the reasoning will take place.
Yes.
The Center for Reparation Research will have a tent, and more reasoning will take place in that tent throughout the day. But then there are people who are coming like Mutamba Fashions, Kamit Revisited, iNation Books, Cafe Africa with food. Benjamin Asamoah will come with food as well. Nella Stewart, Philip Supersad, Shades of Africa. So it's edutainment. You see?
Yes.
It's edutainment. And it's the first we're having that over at the regional headquarters.
Oh, the first you have it. You used to have it somewhere else?
On the Mona campus.
Okay.
The Mona campus usually, would have these events, but it's the first, this Center for Reparation Research is hosting one, such as anything like this.
Yes,
and we're happy to have the Institute of Caribbean Studies supporting us and being a co-sponsor. Yes. So we're really excited about engaging people in not only showcasing the language, the culture, just the vibes, music of Africa, but also to understand the connection between Africa and the Caribbean.
So who will get to play the music? Like we never get me.
DJ Slick.
Okay.
You know DJ Slick?
No.
Well,
we set him play.
Eh?
We set him play.
Well, he works at one of the radio stations. And
he works on a radio station. Which station?
Helping us out, yeah.
Which station he work on?
Nationwide.
Okay. Make sure you play African music,
Yes, man.
Yes.
He knows. We have also sent him a playlist, Just in case.
DJ don't like you do that, DJ don't like you do that, No, sir, DJ don't like I tell him if we play, man.
But listen to me, Muta.
Yeah.
Apart from you, you know anybody who
has
a good repertoire of African music?
Yes, you have a sister who keeps some session named the Sankofa sessions. Up what they call it, Stone Throw. Man is right at the corner at the gas station of Mirabel stand.
The other thing we want them to play there is some songs about reparation.
No, man, man, you have daughters out there. I mean, the daughters I know,
I know, because we had a few, but we went in order. We start with you.
Mm.
You couldn't do it, so we went to DJ Stick, and he could do it, so we didn't go any further.
Yeah.
But I know we're going to have a wonderful day, and I know that, people are busy. It's a Friday, but still.
No, it's a Thursday.
Sorry, it's a Thursday, yes. It's a Thursday, so I'm going ahead of myself.
Yeah, free admission. That makes
free admission. And as I said, come and learn, come and eat.
Yeah.
Learn about Africa, eat African food,
Yes.
buy African fashion. And we're going to have a question here in the booth because, we are supposed to, people kind of canvas for views about how we're doing as a reparation movement and what people would like to see,
Yeah. Since I've been on the line here, how is your status as it relates to going to Ghana in July? You buy a ticket yet?
Not yet, but I want to go. I want to support it.
Oh, you want to go? Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
I want to support it. I mean, I've been to Ghana several times before,
Yes.
But it's never too many times.
No, you can't go to Ghana too many times.
Exactly. Man. And so I'm looking forward to supporting the initiative.
Yes.
As you know, we have our differences about why they chose P19.
Yeah.
But, we don't have
to
make that be an obstacle.
Yeah.
And I think that if we can get this visa thing sorted out.
No, it will start out, man.
By July?
No, I don't know if it's going to start out by July, but it's going to be sorted out.
It has to be sorted out.
We are going to make sure it's sorted out. Yes.
Because there are other, as you know, many East African countries don't require visa of Jamaica.
And South African don't do it too.
South African as well.
Brazil.
And Latin American countries, Colombia, Central American countries, so I don't know why there's this resistance.
And them don't have a visa for come here.
No, the Ghanaians don't need visa to come here.
One of
the things that we want to do in the Center for Reparation 10th tomorrow too is to talk to people about roots. In other words, there's a database which was put out, and it's been modified, updated from time to time by Professor Eltis and his colleagues. And they can map, the origins of our ancestors, and try to understand the culture from those regions.
From where they come from, yes.
Right. So, and then we showcase some of the research we have in the center, like the compensation records that we have, the trial records that we have, so people can learn, as they go along.
But I want to introduce you to something if you don't know it. There's a water out there, a bottled water out there. Mm-hmm. It have a red, gold, and green label.
I saw it yesterday.
All right, there is what I'm calling the IBS, and that thing where you have on the back of a book where you scan?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, if you take your phone and scan it, it carries you to a website that updates you on what is taking place in a whole heap of countries in Africa.
Wow.
Yes, a very, very unique way for bring cross education.
That's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I'm sure I got on the water out of function this week.
Yeah, well, just scan the...
I have the bottle still.
Yes, scan it.
Yes.
And it carries you to a website, and you click on it, and you see a whole heap of different things that are going on in Africa. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Very unique.
I will certainly let people know that. Yeah. And I'm not sure who is providing the water tomorrow. Maybe we are buying water to give people water. But iNation books will be there because this is also food for the head. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We need to showcase the sources.
Okay.
Information.
All right, that's Center for Reparation Research, University of the West Indies, Africa Appreciation Day and Reparation Reasoning. Yeah, free admission, February 28th, time 10 a.m.
From 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Westlands Regional Headquarters, University of the West Indies.
Westlands of the Regional Headquarters. They'll see all the tents and hear the music. So
all right, Mama,
come along and enjoy the day or part of the day, whatever part of the day you can spend with us. Yeah. All right?
Give thanks.
So thank you, Muta.
Irene.
I'm sorry you won't be there, but
that's how it go.
You will hear about it because you know who will be there.
Yes.
You will have somebody there.
My lady will be there.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, man. This is the Cutting Edge on IRFM as we present to you Dr. Ben talking about spirituality and the Adam and Eve story. Yes. So why you listen to them things, you know? Because them things are vintage cutting edge. Them things are before a whole heap of one who listen to it, it bad. You know, see it, yes. And them kind of tape, yeah, put this program upon the map. Yes. So we're going to play some short clips, you know. But we have the main thrust of where we want to get across tonight. This is Black History. Listen.
These things as they may, I will now start to present the documentation. Thousands of years before Adam and Eve. And we know that Adam and Eve is the allegorical characters in the Hebrew book, a book called Genesis. And in order to speak about Adam and Eve, we must then give Adam and Eve a date if we are to say that there were no people before or all people came subsequently. Then we must establish a date for Adam and Eve. It is commonly stated in Western circles, particularly in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, that approximately 6,000 years ago, a god, the Jewish god Jehovah, and if you're Christian, then of course the Christian God Jesus the Christ, and obviously if you're Muslim, then it is the Muslim God Allah, created this world. Now, that is difficult for me to understand when you consider that 6,000 years ago, my people along the Nile were doing engineering, science, law, medicine, and a host of other disciplines. Yet the world wasn't here yet. Now, I do not know which world they were operating under. Let us explore at who could have possibly brought about the concept of an Adam and Eve, since it is that it is only in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam you find these two allegorical characters. Since it is that we find it for the first time in the Hebrew Bible, or Jewish Bible, a Bible called the Chumash, or the Pentateuch, and such other name, as well as the Torah, I would call the 5 books of Moses, we would find that the Jews presented this for the first time to the world. We must then find who are the Jews that presented it, since all the Jews did not write it. The first time we are to have the Adam and Eve concept comes out of the Jewish intellectual circle, a system called the Sanhedrin, S-A-N-H-E-D-R-I-N. The Sanhedrin put out that book, or started to write that book, in approximately 700 BC, and completed it around 500 BC. The person to whom they gave credit for the story of bringing into the world the concept of Jehovah, the Jewish God, Yahweh, was a man called Avram, A-V-R-M, who changed his name to Abraham, assuming, we must assume, as he stated, that an angel of this God came to him while at state in a dream. You would find that all of the prophets got their messages by dreams. And all of the other writers got their state of information by dream. Not a solitary one being sober at the time and at a state of consciousness. But we find that Abraham was not born till approximately 1775 BC. This will put Abraham's birth sometime between the 13th dynastic period of the Africans of the Nile Valley. Meaning then, if we are to use the chronological data of most Western European writers, who gave the first dynastic period of Egypt anywhere from about 5000 BC to about 3100 BC. We will find then that at least the first dynasty of the Africans was at minimum more than 1500 years before the birth of the first Jew, Abraham. More so, that Abraham himself, based upon the Jews, along with his own parents, were worshiping an African goddess by the name of Hathor, symbolized by a cow with a sun disk between her horns. The sun disk symbolizing Amen-Ra, the god of the ancient Africans of the Nile, not only Egypt, Amen being the god of the north and Ra being the god of the south. When Nama, this African king, fought Scorpio, the other king, the king to the north, himself to the south, defeated Scorpio, joined the two states into one, making one Egypt, or the beginning of dynastic Egypt. That combination of the two states, bringing the two concepts of God, Amen and Ra, created for the Egyptians and others in that area a single unity, a single deity by the name of Amen-Ra. Now, the Africans along the Nile, and in particular Egypt, had already worshipped a god by the name of Ptah, or Ptah, P-T-A-H. Ptah was the god prior to the first dynasty and the prominent god up until the third dynasty. Sometime around the third dynasty, we find that the ancient Africans of Egypt, otherwise called Egyptians today, introduced another god, and that was the god Amen-Ra. Well, let us go farther. Along with the introduction of Ptah and Amen-Ra were other sources of information relating to deity. One, it was at that time that the Africans revised their sacred book, their Bible, a book called the Book of the Coming Forth by Day and by Night, to which an Englishman by the name of Ernest A. Wallace Budge, in his translation from the hieratic writing, one of the most ancient writings today by the Africans, part of what is today called hieroglyph, Budge translating that did not take the literary translation of the title, but took one of these, we would say, titles that would draw attention and call it the Egyptian Book of the Dead. In the Egyptian Book of the Dead, using Budge's description for it, we will find an important section. That section is called the Osirian Drama. Osiris was in the extology of the ancient Africans of the Nile, the god who was the direct son. This one should bring a lot of attention to most of you. The direct son of the god Amen-Ra, or Ptah, depending on what period of time you're speaking about. Osiris was the god whose mother had him by a virgin birth, whose mother conceived him by an immaculate conception. And I'm speaking about 4,100 years before Jesus the Christ. May I repeat that, because it may be difficult for many of you. I said that Osiris, the god I'm speaking about, who is sometimes said to be simultaneously Horus, and at other times the father of Horus. Irrespective, let us replace him with Horus, and he becomes the father of Horus. Therefore, what we have here is that the father Osiris, the son of the god Ptah, had a child who was supposedly conceived by his mother, the goddess Isis, and who gave birth to Horus by a virgin birth 4,100 years before Mary did the same thing again. Now, this should be difficult to a lot of you born-again Christians, because you have been told that the first and only time that such a story was told was 1982 years ago. Let me not disappoint you further by saying that Jesus is the last of 16 such crucified saviors.
I believe that the only religion black people ever had was Christianity or Judaism or Islam. They forget that the first known religion was the worship of Ptah, P-T-A-H, along the Nile. There was no Adam and Eve mentioned any place yet because there was no Judaism, and if there's no Judaism, there's no book of Genesis.
But you went so far as to say that the virgin birth, Adam and Eve, Noah,
were all repetition, and they could read the works of...
You said they're myths.
They're myths. All religion is myths. Religion is based upon belief.
There are people who would bet their lives that Jesus was born.
There are people who are dying to go into cemeteries. But that doesn't make things stop. The way we were taught as if there was no other religion but Judaism, Christianity, or Islam. There were religions, and our religion way older than Judaism and Christianity and Islam.
Let me jump
that the Africans did. The religion of the worship of Olodumare, for example, among the Yoruba, is more than 2,000 years older than Christianity.
Now, let me get to this because I see time is creeping up on us. We were sitting around the dinner table, some students and people, and a question came to you both. The way you sound, you guys may not believe in God or something.
I am married to an ex-nun, an ex-Roman Catholic nun. I drive her to 35 years we've been married a few days ago, and I drive her to church on occasion. I'll go in and listen. I'll go to the mosque. I'll go to the Buddhist temple. I go to anybody's religion because religion is a belief. Nobody has it. Now, you ask if I believe in God, you must first explain, because I met the guy that robbed my house, believed in God. He had a big cross on his chest when they caught him and down at the prison. He believed that didn't stop him from robbing my house. Believing in God don't make you good or bad. The Ku Klux Klan believe in God. The one thing that they said that they have established a religion to protect the name of Jesus. So read the whole philosophy. Most of the people here in the Bible Belt will cut your throat for being black. Did the Bible stop them from being racist? No. That doesn't mean a thing because you believe. You believe and your behavior are two different things. And people ask, you believe in God, you don't believe in God. So what that means? It doesn't mean I won't cut your throat.
Okay, but you said earlier that if we start paying black preachers tomorrow morning,
the church will close. How many of them come in to do volunteer work? It's a business. It's a salary people get out of it, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, or what.
Christianity and religion as we know it is a business?
Big business. Biggest business is bigger than AT&T.
You get all kinds of tax breaks, and all kinds of privileges when you're the minister.
His salary is paid. You think the Pope would be there if he didn't get a big salary? He didn't get the biggest salary of all. Do you think... No, let's face it. How many ministers you know doing it for free? Just tell me.
Okay, this is black.
If you don't pay your 10% tithing and see if you're going to get buried, they leave your corpse and may come to the undertaker parlor and say a few words, but you're not coming to the cemetery. You sing in the choir all you want and go get married and see if you have to pay.
What are we to learn from all this? How are we to change our lives? Or how will it change our lives in the better, or can it?
No, I am not against anyone believing in a God system. To the contrary, I do believe in a God system. A system. But what I'm against is that for African people, and by the way, you're Africans, you know, you may not know that, but just remember, if you get a rabbit and put it in an oven, and the next day you go in and they has little ones, you don't call them biscuits. And if Africans come to America and got little babies, they're Africans. Okay, I know you don't like that when you look in the mirror because you can't think you're an African. But anyhow, I have no objection at all. My children, I have a daughter who's a Jehovah's Witness. I have...
Does that bother you?
No, it don't bother me because I train my children. And I know what they believe and don't believe. And in fact of her being a Jehovah's Witness, when problems strike, it's Big Daddy they're coming to. I know that. And my daughter was trained to be intelligent, that you don't pray to stop getting pregnant. You have to do something about that. You gotta go either to the drugstore or a gynecologist. You pray all you want. If you're having a man, the praying will stop the pregnancy. You understand? But birth control will. Okay, the pill will help. Now, that's reality. I'm not going to tell my daughter, believe in God, if you've got a man, pray, and the boy will make you pregnant.
Okay, but I can think of a specific example. People who may be physically ill would not go to the doctor. I'm thinking of one particular instance that I know about.
Right.
Lady would not go to the doctor because she said she'd rather be in church.
She's going to die soon. I do not want a minister when I get hit by a car. I want a specialist in bones.
Well, let me take you for a moment. Let me use myself for an example. I was bleeding to death. I was going to die. I was losing blood faster than the doctors could give me. And they said, we must operate. And there comes a priest to say something over me, whatever it is. I tell him, I don't need him. I don't need him. I want a doctor.
That's right. That's intelligence.
He's standing in the way of the doctors. They need to work in me.
It doesn't mean that he doesn't believe in God. It means that he's intelligent.
And this is
because the priest wants the same doctor. If the priest had an accident and the doctor comes up and another priest come up, and when he look and he has a ruptured aorta or something like that, you think he's going to tell the guy, pray, man, I need that, and tell the doctor, go and tell the doctor, get me to the hospital. When you go to the hospital, how many priests, ministers you will see lying up there getting treated? Because they got sense. You know what I mean? It isn't irreligious or godly for me to say, I fell down and broke my leg, and then say, Father, straighten it out. You know what the Bible said? I will help those who help themselves. Well, the Bible could be used for negative and positive. It's got all kind of negative and positive. And the whole thing is your interpretation of it. You go to 15 Baptist church and you get 15 back. Why tell me now, if it's religion, that you got one block 200 feet long and got 6 Baptist church in there? The same Baptist denomination. Tell me why, if you're a Christian, why you need a Methodist, a Baptist, a Presbyterian, a Catholic, and it's the same Jesus.
Why?
Money. Big business. Everybody wants to run their thing. If I get 10% from you, 10% for the next guy, 10% of $70,000 a year is good loot. I mean, I could get a few Cadillacs behind that. And a nice home and a nice wife with a mink coat. And you see some people taking the last dollar and giving to the church. And then come and ask me for my dollar.
Let me just, because I've been informed that we have about, I guess, less than 5 minutes, maybe.
Yes, religion is a business. I think it's joke. The thing with it is that black people is so embedded in a European interpretation of them own self that when them see the real thing in front of them shun it. You know, because if over the years, you grow up for years, say Adam and Eve was the first 2 people on earth. Most people don't question that. Most people don't question that, you know. If I come to them and tell them, say, boy, you want to say, my mother can't fly, you know. You much question them, are going to ask me. I mean, I say, but you don't question in what time period Adam and Eve did upon the earth. And then the argument is that it's in the Bible. That alone make it true, you know. That alone make it valid. Because it's in a book named the Bible. The black people take it as how it is. How they believe it is. We know that you have civilizations. When I say civilization, I talk about people who was not primitive, but was developing all different kind of structures, institutions and things. We know that they was living in Africa long before Adam and Eve's story exists. And that is what the man I try to show you. The man I try to show you, say, look here, man. Them Adam and Eve story, they just come the other day, you know. just so that they'd write down. We're talking about like 500 years BC, or maybe 1500 years BC. Them said it happened 6,000 years ago. We should have make it like 4,000 BC. Them call it, we are called before the common era, them call it before Christ. AD, them say after the death of Christ. But when you realize that if you really go into your head cup and you really figure it out, you try to tell me, say, man, as man is today, only upon the earth 6,000 years. Only 6,000 years. Think about it. And there was two people named Adam and Eve. Those stories is not real. It's mythologies. It's mythologies. It's there to express a certain group of people, cultural understanding of things at the time when they was experiencing certain things. We know, I mean, I go to Israel, the land of them called Israel, and we're walking into the place that the Bible called Jericho. And I'm entering, just like how you'd say, a sign mark, you're entering St. Anne, you're entering Kingston, you're entering Montego Bay or something. There is a sign there, when you enter in Jericho, say, welcome to Jericho, the oldest city on earth, 10,000 year old. 10,000 year old, them have on the sign. Now the first thing with that jump at a whole lot of people, I say, them lie about 10,000 year old. Adam and Eve. And a lot of people don't even know, say, the story of Adam and Eve, according to the Bible, is only supposed to be 6,000 years. So if this city, Jericho, is 10,000 year old, you can't have a city without people, because people build cities. It's people build cities. So you have a discrepancy of like 4,000 years before Adam and Eve in this argument. So those people, who were those people? Who were those people? Most of the stories we read in the book, the Torah, or what them call the Old Testament, was written down like 2,500 years ago. 2,500 years ago. It never existed before that. It's men sit down and write it. And black people regurgitate it over and over without questioning it. And that is one of the reasons why, as a group, not as individuals, because we see individuals jump out by doing certain things like them. But as a group, we're still at the bottom of the ladder. We're still at the bottom of the pyramid. And how we build the pyramid. But where we are built today, what are we building today that is as significant and important that can reverse or change the state of the African race? Because these stories was put there by men who never understand certain things that was happening to them at the time when it was happening to them in a them cultural space. We're living in a different space. We have a different understanding now. We have knowledge increase so we can decipher and figure out certain things. Why would we want to believe that there was a man named Adam and Eve and them was the first two people and every people on earth come from those two people? When we know, say, in reality, not no go so. Not no go so. Nothing went like that. Because all of the things them we believe we know was taught to us by people who believe them know. Yes. And the people who believe them know, trust me, man, confused more than me and you. Because there's no deciphering, there's no critical analyzing the different aspect of time and ages, and because we have the historical reference point. In other words, like how today we can say, well, you know, there was this time, but before that there was that happening. This happened and then that happened. And everything lead to the next thing. History is a ongoing procedure. History not stop, make. Yesterday was history. 2 hours ago was history. But history leading to what is happening now. History leading to what them call the future. Because really and truly, what going to be the future will be history after that. African people, we still not in the understanding of self to the point where we can know, say, look here, Africa contribute more to what them call civilization than what them would have even teach we. Because them really not teach for the things them we're supposed to learn. Because how you going to teach a man a thing when you want to keep him down? Powerful people will never educate powerless people in what it means to take the power away from them. Because the aim of powerful people is to stay powerful by any means necessary. That's the purpose of powerful people. So if he want to put himself on top, why would he teach you the truth about yourself and about your history? Why would he want to do that? Because if we had known, if we know then what we know now, everything would have different. If what we know now we didn't know then, everything would have different. But we never had the position to know it because it gets twisted and turned by the power base. The power base is what defines your attitude and behavior and your understanding of life in its sum total, whether religiously, spiritually, whether culturally, sociology, archaeological, anthropological, all of the ology them where you can find. History. Some people disregard history because they say, what the purpose of history? We are dealing with now. But now is because of what happened in history. What is happening now is because of what happened 5 minutes ago. It occupies the same space in time. It not disappeared, it not gone. The word was spoken 1,000 years ago, still a travel. But it had traveled so far that nobody can hear it again. But guess what? It come forward into our next human being and progressively move itself continuously. Because the world is never ending. The word no end. History no end. History has always been made. You have history continuous. History is continuous. People scared to examine things where them granny tell them and where them parents tell them, where the church tell them and where the politician tell them. Them scared to analyze it for themselves and figure it out. Why would I, as a human being in this modern day, believe that there was 2 people per earth named Adam and Eve, and all nations and people come from those 2 people? When we know, say, the timeline that them give us, no go so, because there was no people on the earth before that story was created. That story they were created 3,000 years ago. It's just, it's as me I said, 2,500, 3,000 years. That story. Yet still we are talking about city with 10,000. We are talking about pyramids where it built. We are talking about civilization where existed. You know, we are talking about people in West Africa where they did there with them traditions and culture. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. The time is 12 o'clock.
Brothers and sisters, this is Chalice. Join us with respect for our national anthem. Let us stand and defend this one. Peace and love.
Yeah, we're there in the Black History Month, Reggae Month. We just go through the analyzing these ideas where black people have not them consciousness for years without even questioning the validity of what them are believing in. We know that some people can't take them kind of reason, you know, it hurt them. We can't really say these things, but if you don't be truthful to yourself, and you hear the man talk about it too. When a man sick, him go to a doctor. Why you don't want to go to a doctor? Why you don't want to pray for your sickness? And I am yet to say a preacher, all them preachers that we are telling about them are heal people. I am yet to say a preacher make a man without foot grow back. I never say a 1 foot man foot grow back because him a prayer, because him go to preach and all them something there. It's a serious thing. We who understand the philosophy of knowing, when you say you know, not what you believe in, the philosophy of knowing, where you say you know something, as opposed to when you believe something. Belief is a good thing, because we can't deny belief. A belief system, you have to have a belief system. You believe this, because most of the time you believe and hope that the thing where you believe in is true. So the Bible tells you, say, for those of us who believe, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. That is what Paul says in the Bible. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So, really and truly, believe carry upon a faith journey where you accept the thing, hoping say it will be a reality in time. But what is the time? Because you have to get time. Because you can't have generation of people come around the place and I believe the same thing over and over. And when you look at them conditions, it's not getting any better. And when you look at the group of people who believe in this thing, them is at the bottom of the pit. Still has created the bottom of the pit and make the hole deeper and deeper for them. How long it will go on? Because I see them bring us on here, so, you know, for work the plantation, you know. And we work the plantation and them get rich off of the plantation. And we there till still work the plantation. We still work the plantation. Mr. Beckford and all of them who go to England and get rich. My parents, 4 parents, still work plantation. Still chop sugar cane. Don't think now that we get allowed to drink the rum now and drunk and get even worse, fool and stupid. Where's the history? Where's the history that defines us as a people long before the Europeans got here? Where is that history? Where is that history that define our concept and consciousness? The concepts of God. Because we are the concepts of God, just like them are for them concept. Because God is a concept. God is a concept. If there was no man, you wouldn't have no concept of God. Because all concepts of God come from man. The first concepts of God start in Africa, long before you didn't have any Europe. Europe is just the other day. Because they used to call Europe a different thing, especially when the Pope them there. You know, Christendom, all them places them called Christendom because Christianity was the major stakeholder of that, what them call it, continent. But we did have things that go on, just like all the Asiatic people, them did have for them things that go on. But everything is centered around this little space in time between Northeast Africa and the middle of East Africa. Everything where you hear and where you believe in centered around that little area. Like nothing else never exists out of that area. Like you never have nobody in a Far East. You never have nobody in Australia, you never have nobody in the Caribbean. It's like nobody never exists outside of where we are taught. How can we believe that? How we can believe that? That there is some entity that is choosing a group of people over the next group of people. Yet it is him create all the people them. And the problem with it is that the people them who choose is not the most righteous of them. Because even in the book it says to Israel, it's not that you are more righteous than the other nations around you, but it's because of the wickedness of the other nation exceed yours. That is what they must say. So it's not like, say, the children of Israel are the people who God chose was heavenly. So how we decide that? How we decide that there's a group of people per earth where it's chosen over a next group of people upon the earth where it's supposed to be created by the same entity that them have called God. How we decide that? Why are we getting, like we know what, you have some people that say black people are the chosen people. Or you get that. Or you can say black people is the chosen people because you want to what you call dismember the idea that white people is the chosen people. What show you that we are the chosen people? Or what show you that the Jews are the chosen people? Because the Jews write the book where you talk about, say, you read and them say them is the chosen people. It's them write it. And if you want to put yourself back into history and say, is black people write it, what is the benefit that you derive from saying that? What is the benefit? What benefit did you derive from saying that we are the chosen people and we were the ones who God was speaking to? What is the benefit of that? Because we see some people who claim say them write it and give it, and them a benefit. Them a benefit. So how come we as African people now benefit from it? I mean, I talk about benefit, that we can't see the benefits. Not when we're dead, we see the benefits. And you go when you're dead, you're not see no benefit. How African people come into this conditioning that him can use these allegories, these stories, these mythological stories, and uplift himself. Because him take it like say it real. Him taking it real. To the core, him take it real. Him really have your belief say a man stink, dead and stink in a tomb. And the next man come there and said, move the stone. Bring the man out here so, and bring back the man to life. Black people believe that literally. That a man feed 5,000 people with 12 fish and 4 barley loaf or 4 barley loaf and 12, any one of them. 5,000 people. And the problem is that the two books them were them couldn't get it right because the two of them have a different way to tell the story, a different number. And them have black people. When we started telling them about African stories, right away it's not real. If you tell African people about Brother Nancy, them right away them know it's a folk tale. There was no Anansi in Africa there was no spider that was talking in Ghana. It's a story. And guess what? If you tell the people them who go to church that, them say, yeah, I know my grandpa used to tell me about my grandpapa, grandfather, and grandmother used to tell me about Brother Nancy. Them never even know it's an African story neither. And we come and tell them, say the African story, and if you go Africa, them tell you about Anansi. Them never believe, say Anansi attack. Them not believe it. Because it's an African story, you get it straight from Africa. You get it straight from out of your cultural, historical reference point. That's where you get it from. In other words, your granny tell you the story, you know, to your granny, I come from Africa. So I must in Africa, she get the story. But when you get the story, you don't accept it, say, brother Tiger, brother Tukuma, all of them to like brother Tiger talk. There's no time in history when Tiger was talking. There's no time in history when spiders was talking. But flip the script, a snake attack. Why we believe that? Because it's in the Bible where the Jews them write and say so. But the Jews them never intended to be a literal thing. It's a story to a story, it's a story to a means, a story to an end. A donkey attack. African people believe these things because it's in a book that they are told that this book is written by an entity out there that them never see it. The man who write it never see it yet. As you hear Ben Buchanan just say, most of them things they come in a dream. You know, what time a dream thing. Can you just imagine me a dream, certain things that come tell me like it's a real thing? All of them was dreaming. Can you imagine my brethren as so now? Why you look Vital and shoot me again? After so much years, Vital just like come and shoot me. Can you imagine Vital got in bed tonight and dream something and come back, come tell the whole world like that? You know what time of year man I talk about where the world I got end, the world I got this and the world I got that? And the world still go on, a man still a build skyscraper building and still a kill people and still a make bomb. And man I tell you the world I got end, the world I got end. I'm saying, you know, not when the world I got end, you know. So prepare yourself because there's a fear factor in the African people. So them don't want to go into all a Domare or Yoruba tradition or Akan tradition, you know, or Kemetic tradition, all the traditions that we knew before they came. Before they came, institutions and all these things was there. How them get to continue generation to generation to generation, accept and believe these things. I will not see no evidence of the things happening that them talk about. Hundreds of years pass. Hundreds of years have passed. And I go on so, and the clock a tick. And when we look at the development of other people, of groups and nations, we see them develop themselves. But we as a group of nations still have to sit down and wait for that entity, that something to come and save us and give us a better life and make we one foot grow back and make we love one race and we're going to go to heaven to see them again. That is the problem. That is a serious problem. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. Here we go again.
The African who existed in history, and they say history is when a people begins to write. That starts their history. That means there is no history for Greece until Homer wrote the Iliad and the... There is no other written record in Europe until Homer wrote the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Which was when?
833 before the Common Era. And Homer said in the Odyssey, quote, the gods Zeus and Apollo came from Ethiopia, unquote. Zeus and Apollo is known as Greece's first two gods. And Homer himself, the first Greek writer, said they came from Ethiopia. The Egyptian writer, Hunefer, Hunefer, in the papyrus of Hunefa said, quote, "We came from the beginning of the Nile, where God happy dwells at the foothills of the mountain of the moon," unquote. Secondly, when the Africans wrote and created writing, there was no God, Jehovah, yet, no Adam and Eve yet. The first Hebrew, Abraham, was not born. Abraham is not born until, at best, 1346 before the Common Era, in the city of Ur in Chaldea. Chaldea is about where modern-day Iraq, just south of it is, where the Tigris and Euphrates meet. Now, when Abraham was born, is equivalent to the 13th dynasty, just around the time when a people called the Shepherd Kings, or Hyksos, invaded the northern part of this land, around the delta. And they did not come any further south than a place called Avris. And they're still in the delta. For instance, Hyksos have never been this far. They have never been as far as Cairo. And Cairo is an old city. The oldest city could go back in Fustat. And it was made by the conquerors during the time of Muhammad Ali. And Muhammad Ali wasn't even an Arab. He was an Albanian who took on the name Muhammad Ali. Now, when he converted to Islam to get the throne. If we go back further, not a single Hebrew was in this land until then, unless he was astray. There was a single nation. There was nobody named Abraham. Abraham's mother and father did not follow what we call Judaism today. Terah, his father, worshipped an African woman. An African woman you will see right across here, called Hathor. H-A-T-H-A-O. That's the Western spelling. The correct name is Het-Heru. H-E-T-H-H-E-R-O. You will see her and the funerary temple of Queen Abmakari Hatshepsut. She is sewn as a cow. And when she is sewn as a woman, is an African woman with cow's ears. The best place you will see her is at a temple dedicated solely to her at a place called Dendera. Then you will see thousands of faces of her, especially in the Hypostyle Hall. The Hebrews in the first book, the book called Genesis, which means first, they showed that Abraham worshipped the golden calf. India call him the sacred cow. But the golden calf is nothing else but goddess Hathor. Now, that's the 13th dynasty. If we go back to find out all that was done by the time of the 13th dynasty here, before the first Asian, there is no European history then. The Etruscans, the first of European, along with the people of Perth, which later became the Romans and the Greeks, are not in history then. That don't say they don't exist, but there are no records of them. There's no record of an Adam or an Eve. Then no God, no Jehovah, no Jesus, no Allah. Then.
But the Africans were already...
but African got Ptah. I'm going at random. I could keep knock them up. Let me go. Since African God had goddesses, I mean, they weren't eunuchs or anything like that. So the Africans had Ptah, right? They had Nut. They had Osiris. They had Isis. And by the way, I could use the proper name. When I say Osiris, they had Asaru. When I say Isis, they had Aset. They had his son, the Trinity. They had Asaru's son, Heru or Horus, born of an immaculate concepted mother. He himself born of a virgin birth, which you can see the story at the temple of Settai I at a place called Abydos. And Settai I was a king, a 19th dynasty king. The Africans equally had numerous other goddesses and gods.
Ben Cannon carrying us through a part of the history where fear went into obscurity and oblivion not just because Europeans invade, but because we ourselves get so engrossed in the colonial masters' logics and reference point that we don't understand, say, how we give the world these things. The problem is that now, what else are we giving the world when we're still down at the bottom of the pit, a dig hole to make the pit get deeper? Because we know it's actually digging the pit ourselves. Nobody now dig pit again for throw it down in night again, no, you know. Them throw down at the pit and we are dig the hole deeper and deeper. Oh, we really continuously believing in that system, and we're going to say it again. That system don't work for hundreds of years. For us, it works for everyone else, except we. And we still sit down on the veranda and wait. Our great-grandmother sit down on the veranda and wait. And the great-great-grandmother sit down on the veranda and wait. Even as slavery, we are wait. Or why we are wait? If the slave master a worship a God, and the slave a worship the same God, how that going to work out when the prayer answer? How that going to work out? Slave master worship the same God like the slave. The slave had try look freedom. And the slave master, I say, more slave for doing work. Who is it that the God will answer? And we see who God will answer. We see who will get answered. And how much years, hundreds, thousands of years, of following stories that is not hundreds of thousands of years. And we know that as a fact, undisputable, undeniable. Undisputable, undeniable. That the little area where all of these stories take place in, it's not the only place people did there. So warm to other peoples, warm to the people them were there in the Far East, as we just have mentioned, warm to the people them were there in Australia, in this part of Central and South America, warm to them people there. This concept of promised land, where we hear all Rasta take up, we have Dennis Brown sing the tune, The Promised Land. What land was promised to us more than them thief our land? Our land them thief, and now we are talking about promised land. Africa them thief. And if you want to go into the Bible to see how a group of people coming out of the Ur of the Chaldees in Iraq come out and decide, say, them is wandering, but them want a piece of land for them to tell. So them go and go thief a next piece of land that was said to be a people of Canaan. And in order to validate the thieving of the land, them put a story in about curse, where the father have 3 sons, and the 3 sons look upon them father, and 2 of them turn them back and never want to look upon them father nakedness. And this one of the sons them look upon them father nakedness. And instead of the father get up and curse the son who look upon him father nakedness, the father curse him grandson, which is supposed to be Canaan. And Canaan did have for them land, and him say, cursed be Canaan. So black people again become the dregs of this thinking, this biblical conversation will take place, where a man rise up out of land and take away the land and say, God give him this land flowing with milk and honey. But it's not theme land, it's capture land. And if you look on the whole of the story them right through, all of the land them, where the so-called Israelite them say them going to go thief the people them land, kill them and take the woman them for themselves. Kill everybody, male, even the dog them, but take the female them for yourself. African people maintain that thinking over themselves for hundreds of years and hope say the victors in the story is them. Them hope say 400 years of bondage in Egypt is them. But guess what? After that 400 years what happened, supposedly it happened 4,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. Where were they so now with that story? That story is being replayed through centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries. But we still have this belief system. The belief system that don't define we as African people. The belief system that don't define we as first people. The belief system that don't allow us to go into our historical reference point and draw from those reference points to gather our cultural perspective, our spiritual perspective. We can't draw from it because the logics get intertwined with the person who we think we is and the persons who put we in at this thinking. So when you have some people who come and raise up and say, look here, this not go that way there, you know. You become the enemy. You become the enemy. Because black people, you know, where your old people say, gone by the man, gone go that evening. No go so. Because if something did go so, then what would be working for in vain? If the thing gone bad there so, it can't go good there so. No, you have to work and you have to think. You have to have a rethinking. You have to have a new understanding. You have to become like a new creation. According to what Haile Selassie say. You have to come out like a new creation. Because the way the thing I go, the way them set up the something. Sometimes a thin line between them and we. You know, Bama said we don't know how we and them are going to work it out. Right now we are trying to figure out what them I hear people say Babylon. The word Babylon is a problem. Because we stigmatize Babylon because of the same story. How much ones who are listening to me know that Babylon was one of the 7 wonders of the world because it have a swinging garden. And Babylon is in Iraq. The same place where America go bomb up and blow up. It's a place that was inhabited by black people before invasions of other people. It's black people that have them place there. But we get it twisted and curved and carved out a certain way. That we will continue to say Babylon is a wicked place because a group of people write in our book say they were persecuted by the Babylonians, the Philistines, and them is the chosen people. Them is the chosen people. Out of all the 7 billion people on earth, them says only 144,000. And because them separate themselves into 12 tribes, it's 12,000 from each tribe. And black people negate thousands of years of history from the Chinese, from the Aborigines, from the Africans, and maintain a history of a people that never have anything to do with history beyond 3,000 years. Because everything that was written and they wrote, it don't have a 4,000 year lifespan upon it. It don't have that. And we just tell you, so we go in our city where Mark, welcome to Jericho, 10,000 year old, and there's proof and evidence. There's proof and evidence that there were cities. I mean, I talk about well-established cities with kings and queens and poor people and starvation and rich people and transportation that existed more than 6,000 years. More than 6,000 years. And we hear about Kemet, and we hear about all of the name them, Ethiopia and Egypt. Egypt, the name Egypt given to the Kemetic people. The name Ethiopia given to the Cushite Nubian people. I mean, and it goes on and on that everything just twists round and change up to a group of people who never exist. Well, we say exist, not that they never exist, but in terms of civilization, they was not part of what we now know as civilization. Them come thousands of years after with them warlike attitude and behavior to conquer the world and instill a new kind of thinking, a new kind of thought, and a new kind of logics in the way we view and see things. Now you put on your clothes, you have to figure it out. You have to figure it out. But guess what? That is figure it out if you know you have a style. But you see now everything's fashion. So true, everything is fashion now. You wear what is in style according to what them are called style. So you don't dress according to your personality. You just according to what is in fashion. Who is doing that? How them get if you do that? How them get if you do things that is abnormal and see it as unnatural. Not even normal, but natural. Like it's a natural thing to do this thing. You know, it's a natural thing when you're hungry. It's a normal thing when you're hungry. You go to McDonald's or Kentucky or Burger King, that's normal. But very normal. How them get you to look on these things as the normal behavior, normal attitudes. We explained the other day to someone, how them get our African sisters them for having fun by opening out them leg. One leg point to the north, one leg point to the west, and a man stand up on a box and a jump in between no man. How them get to do that? How them get to, and it's a normal thing. Because if you hear we click out against the young man and say, Mutachu, you don't know, it's a part of a culture. Part of which culture? That is our beast-like attitude manifesting itself. That Europeans can look on it and say, see, they don't let me tell you, they don't have beast, man. Because if I know something not old to the point where I can play dancehall music, I play all sorts of music. So it's not a matter of old now, it's a matter of just understanding that is unacceptable to African people. And it gets worse and worse because the weirdest things them is acceptable. That a woman go stretch out her leg them to make a man stand up on a box and jump between her. And you call that acceptable. That is permissive inside of the dance hall. Who you going to blame for that? Who you going to blame for that? Because when we look on the whole aggression and behavior, aggressive behavior, and when you look at the Bible, I mean, the wickedest genocides and all them things that happen in the pages of this book. You know, lightning and fire and brimstone are come down upon innocent people. The Bible says, if your child disobey you, and you talk to her, and them still disobey you, carry her to the city and stone her to death, or stone him to death. Who do want to do that? Then you're going to follow these things. You can't follow them things. You're going to stone your picnic to death because... But yet still you have people that do it. No. Maybe not stone them, but lick them to the point where accident happen and them dead and them to the right, to them lick the picnic and the picnic, them never mean it. So sometimes we do things and it's not it's physically how we are doing it, but in the mentality it's not really how we are doing it, but because we get some other thing that is engulfing us. Like when you watch a movie, you see a spirit just going in our body to bloops. It's a terrible thing, black people. So when we have a place like Black History Month, how much of who are listening to me now find the time for go up on them iPhone, them iPad or whatsoever now, and just click and try to figure out and find out something about Africa. We are here so much about Africa. You know, me go to Africa, I post some things. Just post it because I not answer nobody. Me just post it. Forget the reaction of the youth them. And some things when I see the youth them write at me, I said, no, really. For Instagram page, and me I say, but really. When me a 15-year-old, me I write some poem up to this day, me still I read them. And me I read them in front of thousands of people. And when me have 15, 16-year-old, me write them poem there. Now me see the youth them, you post a thing about Africa, I mean, really, some answer and some comment that you said, no, Rasta, they saw it there. I really, they saw it there. Yes, this is the Cutting Edge on IRFM. So you're going to know. A Black History Month is still in now. Because it's at the 28th. It's at the 28th of February. It's only 2 months based upon of them calculations. And it's all of these things you have to look upon, you know. When we at school, them tell me say 7 days make 1 week. And 4 weeks make 1 month. 4 7s are 28. So every month supposed to have 28 days in it. But guess what? Yes, so when a Caesar like Julius Caesar come, because we know how month them based upon Greco-Roman names and Greco-Roman belief. You know, we don't deal with the Dogon we have seen things. We deal with the Romans things and all the Greeks things. So, you have a man like Julius Caesar, who July name after. Most people might not know that, but Julius Caesar, July name after Julius Caesar, Jule. And we Ethiopian, them use a Julian calendar. That is why them 7 years behind the Gregorian calendar, which is the Pope Gregory. Them decide these things, just like King James decide we're going in the King James version of the Bible. When them sit down with them 47 scholars and say, look, I want to go and go do this and do that. And we'll come back with and tell you what we want to do. So you have books where you say in there, where don't include it in it, like the Apocryphas, which is about 13 other books. And then you have some other books too, we still don't include it in the King James version. Well, Julius Caesar, the month of July, and Augustus Caesar, the month of August. I saw you find, say you have some days upon the month, you know, because one say, the month, my month look short, I'm going to put on one more day upon my month. And since we not dealing with no lunar calendar, And when I deal with we never have no Gregorian calendar. We can do what we want to do. We can do what we want to do. So the extra days them, put on a different month them. Yet still if you use a lunar calendar, you have 13 months. Shorter days. It's weird. You have 7 days, make 1 week, and 4 weeks, make 1 month. But you have 28, 29, and you have every 4 years, you have what them call leap year. And them design the thing. You know, for them logics. But you can't go outside of that logics if you never know a historical reference point to deal with it. So you have to just accept it as a logical explanation why we have 7 days in a 1 week and why the week starts from Sunday to Saturday and why it names Sunday and why one name Monday and you go right down to one name Saturday. Is the names where them give way. The names where them give way. The Greco-Roman names is what define our thinking and our thoughts. And it come like say there was no other thinking and thoughts before that. And these countries is not. There was no Greece 1,000 years before the Common Era, where them call BC. We say BC in a different thinking. When we are Jamaica, BC have a different talk. But when them say BC, they mean before Christ. Now them say BCE, before the Common Era. So, 1,000 years before the Common Era, them never have no place named Greece and Rome. As you hear the man attack, Ben, you can tell us that, and if you go do other research outside of Ben, you will know where I talk about what them say. You have to date time. If you say something is of a certain time, you have to tell the date, the time in which it happened, and the space in which it happened inner. So Greece never there around when all them pharaohs did it. It never there around. So when we look on the ideas of the month and the week and the years, it's all about how them calculate the thing. And if they calculate, watch out now, the Chinese don't just have them New Year the other day, last week. Last week was Chinese New Year. Oh, you know, Raja in the studio, I know too, you know. I don't know if I should have said it, but I'm going to say it. Yeah. Raja in the studio with me, and Vita in the studio with me. But you never hear them say them celebrate the year of the pig, the Chinese. All right. The Chinese have for them way of working out the thing, you know. And even though we might have said, well, I pick this and pick that, but them have them name years for animals. And them can tell you why them name the year them after the animal. Just like how when we look on Egyptian motifs, we say animal head with a human body. And people might look on it and say, what kind of mad devil thing that, but there's a reason why it happened. And it's not working inside of the European logics. Just like how the Chinese do them thing, New Year's, them not calculated off of the European logics. The ideas and the characteristics of a human being as defined by Chinese is different from where Europeans define characters alpha. It's different from where Jews define characters alpha. And if you notice, you know, if you go around the place now, because most of us coming out of the Rastafari learned behavior, we were taught by the 12 tribes of Israel that characteristics come from the 12 tribes of Israel. So you define yourself in that. So right away now, you start to lose yourself again by using a Jewish understanding of character and start to define yourself inside of that character. And then you have the European way of looking at it, and them say Pisces, you have Capricorn, all sorts of things. So you define yourself again also in that character. So everybody have freedom way of defining it, you know. We as African people did have our way, you know, but guess what? We lose it somewhere between Kemet, Ghana, and the Atlantic Ocean. Over here, so the key and peace. We lose it. So everybody have them way to calculate. But we calculate based upon the Greco-Roman calculation because them control our life. It's them control our life. For hundreds of years of them control our life. The Chinese still are maintained for them ear of the rat, ear of the dog, and them tell you if you're a rat, what characteristic you carry. If you're a dog, if you're a pig, what characteristics you carry. It might sound funny because we're still into the European logics. And it's not everybody use a European logics to define themselves. It's only African people use European logics to define African people. How the hell that are going? Or when Europeans sit down, them talk about Pisces and Capricorn and all these things. And when the Jews them sit down, them talk about the 12 tribes of Israel. When the Chinese them sit down, them talk about the year of the dog, the year of the puss, the year of the cat, the year of the dragon, the year of the this and that. We not have nothing for sure. We have to define ourselves within the next man's space, which is directly encroachment. And when somebody come and wake you up to the next reality, it can't figure it in your reality, in our reality, what we call reality, which is an illusion. So we are living in the mythology, we are living in the illusion, we are living in the belief, we are living in the faith of someone else's definition of us. So when a man make you define yourself, and you start to believe that the definition where you give yourself is based upon you yourself and not them who give you it. Then you know you're in a serious problem, but you're not going to see in a serious problem because you're not even conscious that you define yourself based upon our next human being or our next group of people, understanding of self. So when a man say God, right away, you can't say goddess. Because that not taught to you. We who wake up now say God, goddess. Not no wrong with saying goddess. Not no wrong with, if you say God, not no wrong with saying goddess. Because you know, the same guy them, you know, the same Roman them, you know. The same Greco-Roman mindset, you know, them say, Holy Mary, Mother of God. Blessed is your womb. Blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God. Then which part do you think him get that from? The womb. Blessed is your womb. The fruit of your womb. Him still hold on upon that, you know. Because him come from a Greco-Roman idea that was given to him by a next group of people, the Kemetic people who him go invade, where him never have that understanding. But him take it and define it in his own way. In his own way, him define it. That's why when you look on the Rastafari, brethren and sisters, them, you have to say, yes. But guess what? It's like we don't want to define that in a freedom way again. Because we have to use freedom logics to define Haile Selassie. Why must we use something that is new in our understanding of self? And past slaves, domiciled on these slave plantation island, who rise up and create something to liberate we. Why must we turn around now and validate it through the same European understanding of what God is and what God is supposed to be? Why we have to do that? Because if we're not sure some validation based upon a biblical perspective or European perspective, it come like it don't make no sense. But why it have to make sense? Based upon for them thinking the first God will come up, who created no man. The first concept of God, a man come up with it, you know. You think a God come up with a concept of God? It's man come up with it. So if man come up with a concept of God, it's like the man who give the first doctorate. He was no doctor. He was no master's. He never have no master's degree. Then him come up with this master's degree. He just come up with it. It's a concept. You excel in certain little things, you get a doctorate. You excel in certain things, you get a master's. You get a whatsoever, bachelor's. You know, it come up with these things. Just like how the man who come up until they say you have to work from 8 to 5 and then you go and go sit down and watch TV and then get up again and start 8 to 5 again over and over. Somebody create those things. Somebody create those things. But guess what? It's film we have doing the thing, you know, because you don't have to go home, go work from 8 to 5 to make your life be beautiful and wonderful, you know. As a matter of fact, it has been shown now that this 8 to 5 argument is creating more agony and stress in other people, them consciousness. When we did used to stay our yard and plant food and, you know, just sing and do all the things then that is necessary to make life be meaningful, it was more healthy and satisfying. Now somebody design an 8 to 5, 9 to 5 thing, and we have to work within the confines of that thing, and then it just become like stressful, traumatized. So when the man come up now and concept where we have, and we come up with a concept, him did have a concept of God. The Chinese have a concept of God. The Indians have a concept of God. The Indians have a concept of God. You have about 14 million gods in India. Can you believe that? You have about 14 million gods in India. A man over here, son, a man over there, so him don't even know which God you have praise, but him just praise for him God. But guess what? We now have our concept of God. But we throw it away because the power that be, the mighty powerful, decide your logics. And we, domiciled in these farmer slave plantation island, come up with this idea. Leonard Orwell come up with this idea. And we extend it into a God consciousness. And then we have to turn around now and use European logics to define a concept that we create to liberate we from European logics. Wow. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. We're there with you. Yes, this is the Cutting Edge. I want to remind you that we're there with you again. Soon they are with you again too. Today is Thursday. Today is the last day of this month of February. The year's so done. Believe you me. A stepping razor, the art of war, 2 to 5:45 on IRFM every Thursday, whether we're there or not. And we can play the omnipresent thing too. Because whenever they are 2 weeks ago, whenever they are, you still hear the program from a different place in a different time space. Yes, I saw we there. Yeah, I saw we there. You know them way there. You know, so we're at the forward there next week, different month, with the Cutting Edge from 10 to 2, with the Matrix in the building. By Matrix, every time I turn on RFM, I hear you. Morning, noon, and night, I hear you as well. Go on. Are you around the place? Are you around the place at all, man? Yeah, I tell you. Turn your head at the morning, you will turn your head after that.